Hello, everyone. Again, a question I received. The question was, do you have any practical steps according the fact of child abuse, how to look at it and how to embrace it? I was already supposed to, or planned to do a video about childhood trauma, yet on a more like light level. Child abuse is a very intense experience for us as a human being. When you're like, I'm like, it determines my life in such a way that I cannot function as a human being, I would say go to someone who is a professional in this, who is specialized in this. I am not specialized in this. I have clients who have had this, and I'm also supporting them on an energetic level, yet also on a coaching way. Yet when I feel, and I had it one time, that it's numbing them in such a way, I work on the energetic level. Yet also one of them, I really gave the advice like go to someone who can really specifically work on this, because I can see you going over there, like on the event that has happened again and again and again, and I can clear out that energy, but you decide constantly to go back. And then she went to someone who helped her immensely, just 2 sessions. And then I could work further, I think 2 or 3. Well, I don't remember, but it's like she went there and she got really the support that she needed on this specific subject. For her, it was really necessary to have it. And then I worked further on the energetic level and so on. So when you're really like, I'm fully numbed in this, it's really determining everything in my life, then I would say go to someone who's like a professional in this, like someone who's like, I know what this is because of my own experience or something that I'm like experiencing with my clients, and you go to this person. My perspective on this is try to not focus too much on what has happened. And this is something that I take as for myself, that I took and still take as all the experiences that I had as a child and then as a young adult also. Try to not focus too much on that specific moment, because this person is like, how do I look at it? Yeah, don't look at it. In this process, I would be like, first work on you and try to not, because for instance, from what I see with clients, but also with what I could see with myself, is that I was constantly using it to not work on myself. And that's something that I do not allow in my healings. With that one example, it was totally different. It was too much of, I couldn't work with her. So work on yourself and try to not like, often I see people using it to not work on themselves because this has happened and this has, they have. Work on yourself. What did you miss as a child that you can bring to yourself? Like all of us have had parents who could do only what they could do at that specific time on the moment that they were raising you. What did you miss? What was there that didn't help at all, that you actually do not want to have again, and that you have taken over and that you're bringing to yourself time and time again? That's a pattern. And what did you miss that actually would have supported you in growing? Take a close look at that. Like really go and see what can help me grow. And then bring this to you. Often what I see is that they had parents who, for instance, I had one client and his parents were like very rigid and everything needed to be perfect. The house needed to be perfect, clean, not one dirt or dust, nothing, clean. So his room needed to be clean all the time. His clothes needed to be clean all the time. His shoes, his clothes, everything, his hair, everything, clean. Yet also in school, everything needed to be perfect. So he's one of the most intelligent person I have ever met. Honestly, like truly. It needed to be perfect. The thing is, this is a person who physically was as stuck as he could be. Very stiff for the age that he had. He was still under his 30s. Stuck, rigid. He couldn't open up. He was not in the possibility to show his emotions. Not in any way. So what did we start to work on first of all, feeling his emotions for himself, like he had to write it down, and to speak about them. And that, like, being honest about what he felt was the biggest thing that freaked him out. Like, immediately. Every time I pointed out something in a session that I was like, I see that you, and it was, for instance, tried to manipulate or tried to intimidate, or you do something else. Whoa. It was as if I was sticking 10 knives into his heart and he was gonna die because he was not perfect. The fact that I pointed out that he was trying to manipulate or intimidate, woo! Or the fact that it was on a certain moment that he had a jacket on and there was a stain on it, but he didn't see it. I was like, do you know you have a stain on your jacket? He totally went bazookas on it. And I was like, I had to laugh, like and this really helps if you bring humor to yourself. If you're like, okay, I have a stain. What? I have a stain. Where did that? Okay, I ate an ice cream or something like that. Laugh with yourself. It's not all that bad. Like it's really not that big of a deal. Nothing is such a big of a deal. But he went bazookas, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with you having a stain on, like, what? Like, I don't get it. He was like, and I really had to take his hands, look him in the eyes, and tell him his name. It's okay. You have done nothing wrong. This can be washed out, or you can get another jacket. It's okay. And then he just started to cry. And from that moment, it was already a moment before, we could start working. And he is beyond grateful. He's still very grateful for everything that I brought to him. The thing is, it's also with supports, especially when you're because of childhood trauma. With the support, you can gradually start to break down these patterns that you had that block you. Yet you have to do it. I have to say, this guy never pointed to his parents. Never. Never. Even when things became very clear to him and came to the surface and he became conscious about what actually his parents had done, never he pointed to his parents, which is amazing. He always took responsibility himself, despite the fact it was so difficult. And step by step, with the tools I gave him, the tools he found online, he started to, and he's still working on it. It's amazing to see him grow. So start working on yourself. What is it that you missed? And what are the patterns that you started to build up for yourself to protect yourself? For instance, with this guy, what he did, freeze. And sometimes he really lashed out. But that is when you really pushed it too far. And he just had it a few times in his life. But the lashing out was, everybody would have run away from this guy if he lashed out. Yet in essence, he didn't want to lash out. It's just because it built it up too much. And he didn't let it out from the first moment. Now he's starting to. It's amazing to see. So with childhood trauma, childhood abuse even, when you feel this, don't use it to block yourself again, to not work on yourself. Start by working on yourself, and then gradually these experiences that you had in your childhood, you can start to gradually clear them out. Yet try not to use the your ability that you have, the possibility that you have to point it to your parents, it doesn't help you, doesn't help you at all. Then you're just blocking it everything again. You're blocking everything. Every opportunity that you have to grow, you're blocking it. Try not to do that. So you can grow. So that's my advice for, I would even say, child abuse. If you have any questions about this, if you have any comments that you want to share or things you want to share, down here. If you want to give it a thumbs up because you're like, this really helped me, give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't subscribe yet, you can subscribe. Don't know where it is, but please do so. And I see you in the next video. Bye-bye.